Hello and welcome to WION Wings. I am your host Sumit Chaturvedi. If you are passionate about flying and all things linked to aviation, tie your seatbelts and sit back as we have many exciting stories lined up for you this time.
On the show, we tell you all about the Airbus workhorse for the skies, A320 Neo. As dense fog engulfs North India, we give you some tips on how to tackle flight delays. And we tell you how Uber is teaming up with NASA to introduce flying taxis by 2020.
Big is not always better in aviation. Sometimes your agility and cost efficiency depend a lot on your size. The single-aisle Airbus A320 Neo has been quite popular among airlines. India's Indigo made headlines when it gave largest order in aviation history worth $25 billion to this jetliner. So what makes this aircraft A320 Neo so special? Take a look at this story.
The A320 series of aircraft is the world's best-selling single-aisle aircraft family. The A320 Neo, or new engine option, is the latest of many product upgrades and has captured nearly 60% of the market. The Airbus A320 Neo was launched on 1st December 2010 by Airbus, nearly 28 years after the first A320. The first flight of the A320 Neo took place on 25th of September 2014, and it entered service with Lufthansa. The improvements that A320 made with Neo has increased the appeal of these aircraft. It has resulted in 15% fuel burn saving compared to current single-aisle aircraft operations. This model comes along with 2 tons more payload, up to 500 nautical miles additional range, lower operating costs, and reduction in engine noise and emissions. There are modifications to the wing as well. It has blended winglets called sharklets. The new aircraft cabin of A320 Neo offers a more modern look and feel. The cabin has larger hand luggage spaces and an improved air purification system with filters and a catalytic converter that removes toxic fumes and unpleasant smells. There is an option of LED ambience lighting, and the flight crew can control the cabin through new touchscreen displays. What greatly adds to passenger comfort is the fact that the A320 Neo is half as loud as an A320 at takeoff, with an 85 decibel noise footprint. Airbus already has a massive delivery book for the A320 Neos. With nearly 200 deliveries taking place in 2017, India's Indigo has ordered around 400 of these aircraft.
As fog casts its crisp haze over most parts of northern India, the reduced visibility leads to flight disruptions and cancellations. The delays at one airport can have a domino effect across the entire country. Why do pilots dread the fog so much, and what should you do as a passenger to avoid fog fear? Watch this report.
Dense fog can be a nightmare for both the passengers as well as the pilots. If there's one thing that pilots worry about after flight turbulence, it is a spell of dense fog. The reduced visibility of the tarmac is a huge hurdle for pilots, as even after having state-of-the-art systems, they have difficulty in landing. In worst-case scenarios, pilots can hit some objects on the ground. Fog has already played havoc with flight schedules across India this winter season, and Delhi Airport is taking a number of steps to ensure this is minimum disruption to flights.
This is a global positioning system, GPS, for the tracking of the vehicles. We introduced in this year. So this important what happened, this gives a better tracking mechanism in the fog for the vehicle. So this improves the safety of the airside.
While airlines use various techniques to maintain normal penetrability in dense fog conditions, some of these disruptions in both domestic and international flights are inevitable.
We got to know in airport that the flight will be delayed by 30 minutes and we had to stay there by, I guess, 35 minutes, and after that we board the flight. So of course it is a problem for us.
Well, the pilot told us while he was flying and approaching. While we were waiting in Bangalore, he told us there would be a delay. And then when he reached New Delhi, he told us, yeah, there's a delay and we're in a holding pattern.
If you are a regular flyer, chances are you've had a delay due to fog or may be faced with one soon. But why is the fog such a nuisance? In a nutshell, it's all about safety. At night, a pilot uses ground lights for navigation and direction during landing and takeoff. When the fog is thick, the pilot can't see the runway or the lights from the runway, leading to low visibility operations. For the safety of passengers, there are rules and regulations about acceptable visibility for takeoff and landing. If the fog makes it difficult to see, it can mean that although it's safe to fly, it's unsafe to take off or land. Smaller aircraft, including some private jets, can take off and land in dense fog conditions, as the smaller size means they need less of a run-up on the runway to take off and less of the runway to land. They're able to operate as they don't need as much depth of visibility as larger aircraft. Also, at times, a fog delay may not be because of fog at your departing airport, but due to poor visibility at the airport you're headed to, or another airport altogether. Fog can also really cause a domino effect on an airline's schedule during the day, and it's not uncommon for flights to be delayed for hours or even cancelled. The fog can throw the whole flight plan out of schedule, and this impacts the airports where there's no fog as well. Though it is not possible to avoid fog impacting your schedule completely, certain steps can be taken to mitigate the impact. It's highly advisable not to plan a trip when the fog is expected, but if go you must, do plan to get in a day ahead of your commitments. This ensures that you have enough time to deal with fog delays, if any. Not just that, we do advise that you add that travel insurance to the cart as well. It could come in handy in case of long delays. Also, before leaving home, do run a customary check on the status of your flight. Not only should you check the airline's website, but also their Twitter handle. If there is a delay, chances are high that it would be first announced on Twitter. Jet Airways also has a Twitter bot called Jet Instant, which will bring you up to speed with the flight status. You can also check the position of your plane on websites and apps such as FlightAware or Flight Radar 24. Airlines file the tail number of the plane that a flight will be operated ahead of time so that you can track the plane to see if it is delayed on its way to your airport. Websites such as Expert Flyer show you an almost accurate availability of seats on various flights, which should make it easier for you to plan your next steps. The trouble with fog is its unpredictability, and the passengers have no choice but to take the cancellations and delays in their stride.
We all know about Uber and the ride-hailing services it offers, but now Uber is also dreaming about flying. Uber has tied up with NASA to make a program to start flying taxi services. What are Uber's ambitious flying plans and when can they take off? Here's the story.
As 2018 gets underway, there are a couple of multi-billion-dollar deals that could change the way we travel. Uber is hoping to take transportation to the next level by moving from the streets to the skies. Uber has struck a deal with NASA to develop software for managing flying taxi routes in the air. Uber's contract is the first formal services contract by NASA that covers low-altitude airspace, rather than outer space. NASA has used such contracts to develop rockets since the late 1950s. The ride-hailing firm plans to begin testing a 4-passenger, 322 km/h flying taxi service across Los Angeles in 2020.
So we're working closely with government regulators, and as part of that, we actually just announced that we signed a Space Act agreement with NASA, and that agreement basically is a collaboration to develop airspace technology and work on the end-to-end airspace systems, which includes the regulatory component for airspace.
I think there is an emerging market consensus that 2020 is a good target for when we can put people in and do actual full test of how it will be in urban environments. Although some are already started now, so the market is essentially already open. Of course, it is a competition, but I think at this point everyone is quite humble to the task we're looking at, right? Inventing a new means of flight, vertical flight in cities is a big thing. So there's a lot of collaboration and discussions with the different players.
So how will this work? Uber's on-demand urban air taxis will be called Uber Elevate. Passengers will need a smartphone to book the flight through the Uber app and then go to a skyport on the roof of a nearby building, skipping the traffic congestion in the process.
In 2023, that'll be full, paid passenger flights happening. So, you'll be able to literally, on your smartphone, with the Uber app, you'll be able to push a button and choose Uber Air as one of the options.
Uber envisions a fleet of vertical takeoff and landing crafts called VTOL. A VTOL looks and operates like a helicopter, but it uses electric propulsion, producing zero emissions, and is designed to be much quieter than a helicopter. However, Uber does not plan to build any aircraft itself.
Uber will not be building the aircraft themselves. We're actually, the way we've approached the problem is we've gone out to the aircraft ecosystem, and we've entered into collaboration agreements with a number of different manufacturers. That's working incredibly well. We will be partnering with them. We do have people on our team who are vehicle design experts. We will be embedding those folks and having them collaborate with our partners to help accelerate their vehicle program.
I think the flying car, the Blade Runner analogies, I think that's not necessarily completely helpful in urban air mobility. I think this is a transportation system. It's a new evolution of a helicopter as we know it. It's a better helicopter because it can be more affordable, it can be less noisy, and it has more redundancy in its architecture.
It is also working with real estate developer Sandstone Properties in Los Angeles to build rooftop landing pads on skyscrapers, from which it aims to offer its services.
It is time for a break on WION Wings. After the break, we will get you more from the world of paragliding in Bir Biling in Himachal Pradesh.
WION Wings. Airline partner, Turkish Airlines.
The world of paragliding is the world of adventure sports. Bir Biling in Himachal Pradesh is one such place where you can go and enjoy this. But there are problems linked to this as well. In this story, we find out all things linked to paragliding in Bir Biling in Himachal Pradesh.
Come on, ready? शुरू में जब मैं 4th क्लास में पढ़ता था तो उस समय हमारा गवर्नमेंट स्कूल होता था बीड़ में, तो उस समय फर्स्ट टाइम एक आसमान में एक ग्लाइडर उड़ता हुआ नज़र आया। हमने देखा कि इतना बड़ा कपड़ा क्या है ये। उसको देखने के बाद हम लोग उसके पीछे भागे, तो ऐसा लगा कि जैसे कोई आदमी उस पर फ्लाई कर रहा है या उड़ रहा है। तो हम लोग स्कूल बंक करके छोड़ के उसके पीछे हो लिए।
Bir Biling is considered to be one of the best paragliding sites in the world. As a sport, paragliding has remained on the margins in India. But here, it is big business.
हम लोग सोलो फ्लाइंग तो यहाँ बीर में करते थे, पर सोलो फ्लाइंग से ही आपको पता है कि हमारा बिजनेस नहीं चलता है, घर नहीं चलता है। तो सोलो फ्लाइंग एक बहुत महंगी गेम है। सोलो आपके पास एक इंडिविजुअल गियर होना चाहिए। ये गियर कम से कम 1.5 से पौने 2 लाख रुपए का आता है। अगर आप काम नहीं करोगे तो ये गियर नहीं खरीद पाओगे। तो इसीलिए हमने क्या किया कि टेंडम होता है जिसमें 2 लोग फ्लाई करते हैं और जिससे हमें इनकम होती है।
Residents of Bir and its adjoining villages largely rely on agriculture for their incomes. But that has been changing since the late 1990s. With growing numbers of visitors, particularly those interested in paragliding traveling to the region, new income avenues have opened up for the local population.
पहले तो यहाँ पे कुछ भी नहीं था, होम स्टे वगैरह कुछ भी नहीं था। पैराग्लाइडिंग चला तो प्री वर्ल्ड कप चैम्पियनशिप कोई भी हो रहा है तो उसके लिए रोड चाहिए, रोड उसी वजह से आया। और होटल रहने के लिए जगह चाहिए, होटल चाहिए, होम स्टे चाहिए, तो सब कुछ धीरे धीरे इसी से ही प्रमोट हो रहा है।
Place has like grown in terms that the locals are benefiting from the sport. There are people who are renting out houses, there are locals who are like running restaurants, and the people are renting out bikes and cars, taxi business, everything is like going around paragliding. So paragliding has played a very important role in the economy of this place.
Despite the growth of paragliding as a business in Bir, there still remain serious structural issues that need to be addressed. For starters, although there are regulations that define who can be certified as a trainer, they aren't strictly implemented. What this means is that even people who are not adequately trained and equipped can set up paragliding businesses. That, in effect, adversely impacts those who have legitimately followed the processes and undergone the requisite training.
अब बंदों को पैसे की ज़रूरत है और कहाँ से अर्न करना है पैराग्लाइडिंग, यहाँ का एक ऑप्शन ही पैराग्लाइडिंग और पैराग्लाइडिंग ऑप्शन है तो कमा रहे हैं लोग, बस आ रहे हैं 5-6 दिन प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, 10 दिन प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, 15 दिन प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, उसके बाद सीधा ही सोलो से सीधा कमर्शियल फ्लाइट में आ रहे हैं।
The weak regulatory mechanism not only prevents business growth but can also be hazardous for flyers. While there are inherent dangers associated with paragliding, inappropriate guidelines have meant that some visitors who are unfamiliar with the region have ended up suffering injuries.
हाँ, सोलो के जो अपने एक्सीडेंट हैं वो होते रहते हैं क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोग जो है अलग अलग कंट्री से यहाँ आते हैं और वो फ्लाइंग करते हैं। उनकी जो कंट्री में जो कंडीशन फ्लाइंग की है वो अलग है, हमारे इंडिया में जो फ्लाइंग कंडीशन है वो अलग है। कुछ लोग जो है इसको सोचते हैं कि ये ओपन वैली है और ज़्यादा इजी है फ्लाइंग करने के लिए, तो ऐसा भी कुछ नहीं है।
Yet for many in Bir, paragliding remains a deep-rooted passion. For people like Deshraj and Kamal, it is more than just a business.
स्पोर्ट्स का बेस्ट पार्ट तो सबसे अच्छी बात है कि आप एक तो नेचर को डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं कर रहे। इस मेरे स्पोर्ट्स के हिसाब से हम नेचर को समझ रहे हैं और नेचर को रिस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं, सीधी सी बात। मेरा सबसे बेस्ट पार्ट ये लगा। अब कई स्पोर्ट्स हैं, कार स्पोर्ट्स हैं, ये है वो है, बहुत ज़्यादा उसमें पोल्यूशन है, पोल्यूटेड है, बट ये गेम पोल्यूटेड नहीं है।
SpiceJet is the first Indian airline to start offline retail stores. Swiss is expanding its wings into India, and an annoyed passenger made headlines because he jumped out of the emergency exit of an aeroplane. Here's an exciting mix of stories on Newsdeck.
Low-cost airline SpiceJet became the first Indian airline to have opened its retail store called Spice Style for its e-commerce portal, spicestyle.com. The store opened in June 2017 in Gurugram's Galleria Market. Spice Style has curated 11 fashion and lifestyle brands under its portfolio. It has Forced as its in-house brand, which retails watches, belts, ties, perfumes, and cufflinks. These scale model replicas of planes, bikes, and cars make for great gifts for collectors. The wooden Caprio sunglasses caught our eye and are a bit of a novelty. And as expected, Spice Style has curated bags of all shapes and sizes. Looking to increase its ancillary revenue, SpiceJet has opened a second retail store in the Good Earth Mall in Gurugram. Positioning its focus on product quality rather than price, SpiceJet intends to make travel both fun and convenient for its customers.
A Ryanair passenger activated the emergency exit after his flight was delayed for almost an hour on New Year's Day at Spain's Malaga airport. The video captured by a fellow passenger shows the 57-year-old man walking along the wing with his bag in hand. The plane had left London an hour late, and passengers were then held on the plane for a further 30 minutes after landing at Malaga airport, without any explanation from Ryanair.
Swiss has completed a decade of operations on Delhi-Zurich route. The airline is celebrating this milestone. Swiss counts completion of 10 years of India-Zurich operations as another milestone to its history. India is a key market for the Swiss. Its inaugural flight, the LX-146, connecting Delhi with Zurich, took place a decade ago on the 25th of November 2007, and Delhi became the second destination within India, thus creating history for the long-haul destinations.
When it comes to Swiss, it's also not just about Switzerland, it's beyond. So it's beyond to Europe, it's beyond to North America. And the Indian traveler, as you know, is growing, he wants to experiment, he wants to see the world, and we see a lot of travel. So the flight has been successful from day one.
What has art to do with flying? Everything if you're Chinese artist Kim Min-Lu. Liu has started his own airline that will jet art aficionados to events around the world. Angel Haha Airline caters to art enthusiasts who hate the hassle of flying but are not financially equipped to fly private.
Basically, when you see the news about Angel Haha, you already enter my performance. So entire thing is being choreographed. So, of course, my airline is different. My airline is about art. It will bring the most positive energy to every passenger.
Liu wants to curate the entire in-flight experience, from how the safety demonstration takes place to even how aircraft smells.
Angel Haha Airline is also it's a commentary about our contemporary traveling life. Also, you know, like as artists, we've been traveling to biennial exhibitions. It's become very symbolic, and also it's a power structure of our art world. So I use this airline as my artwork. It's my performance.
Angel Haha's maiden flight took off from Teterboro in New Jersey to the Art Basel Fair in Miami, Florida. 6 passengers, including Liu, boarded the flight to Miami, during which she sang to her fellow passengers.
That's all we have in this episode of Wings. We will be back next week with much more from the world of aviation. Till then, goodbye and fly safe.
WION Wings,